Wow, great that you're here. Wonderful. Thank you so much for, yeah, hanging out here. Thank you so much for sticking around. That was the word I was looking for sticking around. That's incredible. That's going to be so helpful for sure. Like I know this from my own experience. Sticking around the light and love, remembering your true essence, being confronted with the impossibility, stepping right into the cloud of unknowing, not knowing what to expect, not knowing what there is to see, but still you stick around and you just be there and you keep longing for the love for God. And that's the thing that's gonna, like, that's inevitable that you're going to be successful in that. You can't imagine that that is so, but it's really true. And if I can do it, you can do it for sure. I wasn't the easiest student at all. But if I can do it, and you must be very well capable of doing this. And basically that's admitting that you can't do it. So you must be very good at admitting that you can't do it. The same with me. I can't do it. That's the beautiful path of this. That is what actually saves you. By admitting I can't do it. I have no idea. I have no idea what would be helpful or not. I'm just following instructions, and here we are. Course in Miracles, daily lessons, the workbook for every day. So I don't have to get lost in trying to figure out how am I supposed to do this. That's what this is for. You don't have to figure out how this works. You don't have to understand it, what's occurring. You don't have to welcome the lessons, you don't have to like the lessons, you don't have to do anything with them except doing them. Very simple, very consistent, like everything is available, follow the instructions, that's all. The rest is taken care of for you. The only thing is you hook in to your salvation. You hook into the love of God, presented to you in a way that you have no idea how to look at that, or how that can possibly work, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't work. Well, there's a lot of nothing that you can do. There's a lot of nothing that you can do today. Like, this is the interesting part for me to prepare this. You might recognize this very well too. Like in preparing, for instance, this meeting, the only thing I do is basically coming back and staying right there with my own quiet, with my own stillness, going through whatever I go through. That can be a lot, that can be a little bit, like it's never automatic that this occurs. I don't say it's full of effort, but it's never easy in that sense. It is always asking of you just everything, to hand over everything. Really like that, and that's my practice. That's what I do the whole day, handing it over, not determining any outcome, not doing any of it, but just feeling what I'm feeling, and say not picking up any idea to delay or distract that exactly that what I'm feeling. I think that's the biggest secret. So it's in other words, you can't lose your peace if that is your practice. It literally is impossible, because the only thing I'm doing in that sense is diving deeper, allowing myself to go deeper and deeper into exactly what's going on right here, right now, in me, because there's nothing else. So there's no world that can tempt me to be distracted by it. It looks like that for a moment. I experience the consequences, but I always return back to the base, to going deeper within and deeper within and deeper within, and allowing this experience of myself to be complete, to be whole, continuously. That is the practice that you will end up doing, because Like otherwise you start to trust your images. You start to trust what you're seeing. You use your perception to determine what the hell is going on, or how am I supposed to respond to any of this. Not so. Not so. It has nothing to do with what is truly going on. What is truly going on with you is your maturing on the path, your undoing in this transformational procedure that you're in, with all the occurrences that seem to be taking place as a distraction to delay your homecoming. What I mean with that is, like, you think that what you feel, that where you go through, has something to do with the occurrences that seem to be happening around you. That's not true. So that's not true at all. The true occurrences that are taking place are on such a deep level in you that it has nothing to do with the superficiality of where you can identify with, but what doesn't make any sense in reality. It is based on the images. It's based on the past. It's based on something that's already over. It is based on your image of yourself and your associations with that specific limited perception that you have assumed as real. So that doesn't tell you anything about yourself. Now, of course, in Miracles is helping you, reminding you of who you truly are. Because that is already so. You can't change that. So it is like you circle around, but you come closer to the core of your being. And the circling around can be a bit painful. It can be distracting. It can be confusing. It can make you dizzy, or whatever it is that occurs with you, whatever you feel. One day it's like this, the other day it's like that, and there you go. So you circle around in a spiral, coming closer to the inner circle of this black hole that you dive into, where you literally cannot figure anything out. Your intellect is completely, unusable in this. Once you're in the rabbit hole, you have nothing to do with it. You literally can't use your images. You can't use your analyzing mind, your deductions, your expectations, your experiences, past experiences. You can't use any of that. At the same time, you come in touch with something that is real, and which is this present moment, which is such a deep place that it literally has no bottom at all. It's like an infinite amplitude, talking quantum physics here. And like it's an infinite amplitude. Literally there's no end in how far you go up or down. That's what I'm saying. It's like you fall into this rabbit hole, you go deeper and deeper in it. Basically that's where you come in touch with your peace. And the deeper you go in, the higher you go up at the same time, because there's no difference, there's no opposites. It is the same movement. It's moving in the same direction, even though it appears to be opposites. Okay, so this is quite the introduction to to the 41 to 46 lessons. Well, we'll see where we end up today. I think so, 42 to 47. These are the lessons that we do today. And so I'm using the video of Wednesday with Master Teacher. This is the 6th Illumination Mind Training Series. And these are very helpful. Now, today we're going to dive into a bit of biblical association with the lessons. So that is with Paul, who had the Damascus experience, talking about entering into a black hole, being knocked off your horse, and coming to know the truth of you in a flash, while you were killing Christians. You were so busy killing Christians because you were convinced that they were wrong. And so here you are, finding yourself in the middle of of your battle against Christianity and being knocked off your horse and returning to a Christ consciousness that changes everything in a flash. Now this is not a story about Paul, this is the story about you. Like in this one instant, suddenly that is occurring. It takes only a flash, so to speak, to come into Christ awareness. It will take you by surprise. Like suddenly in the middle of the night, there's a thief in the middle of the night, or suddenly there's the bride and the groom. And we have all these biblical references to the same experiences. So Master Teacher, in the talk that we listened to on Wednesday, Master Teacher refers to this specific part. And I want to look at some of his expressions before we go to the lessons, because it is totally related to the God lessons that are taking place as we speak, like today's lesson, for instance, yesterday's lessons, and the lessons before that. So let's dive into this talk a little bit. The impossibility. So we go up a little bit. Here I have this. Okay. Now, well, here's Master Teacher. You suffer from a condition known as sequential time. I have the thinking that things are happening in a timeline, that something was happening yesterday and that there's a tomorrow where something else will happen. So you suffer from a condition known as sequential time, where you continue to convert your own historic references of yourself to alternatives that are always based on past events. You become accustomed to the idea that life is what this is. This is the condition known as immortaholicism or sequential time. So everything, you translate everything into time-related ideas. Oh yeah, I know that because I did that like not too long ago. I did this. Oh yes, I do that tomorrow too. But I've done that before, so now I'm experienced. In the meantime, I blind myself with these ideas. So let's take a look at this. I mean, this is the tendency that we have to say like, well, I know how this works. So you don't have to really explain it anymore. I did this before. I did this before. And like, no, you don't know anything. No, you don't know why you do the things that you do. You don't know where you go when you think you go to a familiar place. None of this is so, but it's ingrained in your thinking that it is that way. So that's why everything still looks the same. And you have familiarities, and you have your routines, and you have whatever supports this idea of sequential time. And everything seems to confirm that to you, right? Oh, I got to pay my rent next week. Now I got to do this. And like all returning patterns confirm to you that you live on a timeline, and that you live on a timeline and you know what you can expect because you have lived like this for a while. Literally projecting the past into the future and having the stability of a sequential time. Like you think that is a balanced state of being, that you know what to expect, at least a little bit. And so for the basic part, you know how to do that. So that is not what miracle-minded thinking is, but you're here because you really, up to this point, have actually believed that you could get old and suffer pain and die. And you call that life, even though you searched for another solution within that frame of your desperation to see how you could possibly be separate from eternal life. See, this is a fundamental expression. It's like, you know, there's such thing as eternal life. Like, everyone knows there's such thing as eternal life. Everyone has heard of that idea. It's not an alien idea. Now that is placed completely outside of your humanness, you could say. Like it has nothing to do with your human idea about yourself. Literally, a human being would say, well, yeah, what do I know about it? I know there's such a thing, but I would have no idea how that works. Or as if here's sequential time, and when that is over, when I die, then there will be eternal life. And you're not sure how this works. And this part is exactly where in fact something could be as a discovery, that if that is true, then this cannot be true. There is not a temporal life and an eternal life. Like that contradicts each other massively, totally. Something cannot be temporal in a state of eternal life. The temporalness doesn't exist in eternal life. So fundamentally there's something wrong with what you assume as real. And you know that. But it doesn't mean that you don't defend it, and it doesn't mean that you live by it. And so these are all beliefs that are going to be undone in doing these lessons and sticking around, staying with the practice, and having other experiences that take you out of time. Then suddenly it starts to make sense. Like, yeah, of course, life is eternal. Now I know. Life is eternal. I experienced that. I come into an out-of-time experience. That's very well possible. No. So there goes my temporalness of myself. So that places the temporal experience of myself in a whole different angle, or in a whole different setup for myself. Like it loses its value that it had before. I'm seeing only the past. The past is over and gone. I keep repeating that same story over and over again. I really think that that's part of life, and I know at the same time that cannot be true. So I'm really living this paradox, which is an extreme thought, a very radical thought that has nothing to do with reality. It goes totally against my nature, and it keeps me busy all day. Don't underestimate that. Believing that time is real, it keeps you busy all day. You would never find a moment of rest, because every tick is bringing you closer to the end of time. Every tick of time is going to bring you closer to the end of time. And when the end of time is there, that means the end of you, as you have seen yourself. And that's not a popular thing to think about. The simple truth of the matter is, you're not separate. All you had to accept from my mind, which is your mind in light, since I'm an aspect of your dream association with yourself, was that this world is not real. The simple truth of the matter is, you are not separate from what eternal life is, from what totality is. All you had to do was accept from my mind, which is your mind in light, since I am an aspect of your dream association with yourself, was that this world is not real. Having come to that conclusion momentarily in your mind, you feel the joy of not having to continue to operate in a procedure of relationship of sequential time that only can bring you to the inevitable result of what it has always brought you, which is what? Death. Well, there you have it. So that you feel the joy that you don't have to do this anymore. You feel the joy that this idea that you were heading on, like you were living in a belief in time, in a sequential time, and that was a burden you could not carry, because you know the outcome, and it's not very exciting. It's not going to bring you anything but death, and that is not what life is. That has nothing to do with what life is. Now this you live every day, so it's like you live in it with a time bomb in your hand. You walk around like a suicide bomber. When you put your finger off the switch, you're gonna explode into death. It is like that. This is how you walk around in time and space. One moment you forget about this, and then suddenly you're gone. This is your fear. This is what controls you in your human thinking on a continuing basis. Maybe not as dramatic and intense as I'm sharing it now, but it is there. And you have covered this fear up with distraction and with patterns and with habits and with justifications to say, like, well, everyone is doing it, so why wouldn't I be doing it? Like, no, yeah, that's human destiny. It's just the way it is. I'm like, no, that's not true. It is not that way. It is different. So you can only discover that if you are willing to let go of this temporal sequential time association that you are accustomed to. For just a split second, you allow that to be lifted from your consciousness. And you enter into a holy instant. You enter into a moment of connection with Source, recognizing that, yes, I am out of time. I am gone from here. This has no reality whatsoever. In a particular way, here we come to Paul. In a particular way, and I'm going to talk about it for a moment, what I've offered you is a continuing release of the defense of yourself from death. Like, you no longer have to defend the idea that you're going to die. The great Apostle Paul, who underwent his Damascus experience, being knocked off the horse, and we'll go to Christianity for a moment, always and continually expressed in his epistles the certainty that he died each day. And he offered to the Christians his certainty that the conceptual soul had nothing to do with the realization of Paul that emerged at the time that Jesus spoke to him. Yeah, so this has some information here. One of the facts that are given here. He had a certainty. Saul has nothing to do with the awakening. So, taking time to share this. It's like Saul, the soul that was on the horse, that was knocked off the horse, had nothing to do with the Paul that emerged with his Christ consciousness. This soul had nothing to do with it. That was a past tense that is gone. Now Paul comes into the practice of dying daily, continuously giving up. And here we come to the practice that I was introducing to you in the beginning of this meeting. It's like, this is my practice. I die each day. And that means not picking up any sequential time ideas. Letting go of all my associations with time. Letting go with the idea that this Wim character has anything to do with the awakening. No. So all that is related to what I think that I am, I release. Because it has nothing to do with my true nature. But it disrupts my experience of myself in a certain sense until I become consciously aware that I have an option of dying daily. This is the thing that we practice continuously. And you will see that when we start to read the lesson of today, you see that too. Like that is inherent in every part of the lessons, the practice of the lessons. Let go. Go through the clouds to the light, but let go of it. The clouds are just your thoughts, are your meaningless thoughts that are surrounding you. The believing that darkness is really something. Now you just hold out your hand and wait for your hand to be literally to be taken, to bring you into the light that is actually present in your mind and has nothing to do with your ideas about it. So this is what I mean with the practice. So continuously you let go of what you think is going on, why you do the things that you do, why you feel the way that you feel. You don't look for associations related to time. You don't have to understand what is going on. You don't have to analyze what is going on. You feel what you feel and allow it to change and be healed and let it, yeah. In fact, this is the process of dying daily. He offered to the Christians his certainty that the conceptual soul had nothing to do with the realization of Paul that emerged at the time that Jesus spoke to him. How did he practice this in his own mind? So that is the essential question. Like, how did he practice that? Like, how did that work for him? This is true of this course for you. Every time you find a correspondence in what you think life is, it's a resistance to your inevitability to die. Are you ready with this now? What I'm offering you? I want to bring you to the spot in your own mind where you experience what you would term the impossibility of the situation in which you find yourself, because at that moment in space and time, the complete alternative will be available to you. Now, this is really wonderful. Are you ready to do this? I want to bring you to the spot in your own mind where you experience that what you would term the impossibility of the situation in which you find yourself, because at that moment in space and time, the complete alternative will be available to you. Well, this is 12 step, obviously. This is step 1. The impossibility of the situation in which you find yourself. Can you admit to me that your life has become unmanageable? That you have no idea where to move forward, backward, or anything? Like, are you willing to admit the impossibility of the situation that you find yourself in? And are you giving up trying to solve that yourself? Now the alternative can be available. Now, like I said, this is the practice. This is the practice where you come to, that you keep repeating, and in fact allowing everything to circle around until you come back to the center of your being. So here's an idea, here's an occurrence, here's a past associations that come at you. Like, it doesn't mean that nothing happens. They come to you. You have certain situations that you suddenly find yourself in. It seemed like you didn't choose them, but you did. But that doesn't even matter. Now you're in the middle of a situation. It really triggers something in you. Now what do? You stick with this practice and you stay with yourself. You let this, you feel this, you go through this, you let this pass through your system without pinpointing it down in time and space to specific characters that you think they brought that feeling to you, or who knows what you think about it. It's like all these ideas are meaningless. This is what we did in the first 15 lessons, like thinking meaningless thoughts. I really think that I can set up my understanding about what is occurring and reason and analyze and in fact make a new strategy to deal with it. Not so. I'm not able to do that. I admit that here. Now I'm ready for the complete alternative. And here's the light, here's the love, here's the freedom. Literally, here's my peace. Just coming to me by this practice. Suddenly my consciousness is open to be aware of that. That is no longer distracted. That is not distracted by all the considerations that I have, all the concerns, all the future projections. No, I literally am coming to myself in my absolutely pure Christ awareness. Christ awareness is a total experience. It's not a mental state or anything. It's a total experience of yourself. Literally, you see, you don't go anywhere. There's no such thing as time. All is present here, and it is complete and whole and perfect. And everything starts to confirm that. And you can bring everything back to this specific point. So this is not teachable. This is experiential. this is what we said yesterday too, the cloud of unknowing. And for Thursday, I came up with some ideas related to the cloud of unknowing. So some artists that are inspired by this. For instance, why is this so interesting? Because literally you do the opposite thing of what you would do as a human being. A human being would try to solve its situation. What do? You not try. You admit to the impossibility of the situation, not fixing it, not changing it. So in other words, you step right in the middle of darkness. The darkness that you are so afraid of and that you were trying to avoid. Suddenly you find yourself in the middle of it and stand still and listen and like stay right there. Just stay right in it. Don't try to adjust anything. Don't try to associate this with anything. It is just what it is. You feel it. You go through it. And it will change. You can be sure of that. It can be very uncomfortable. It can be very threatening. It can stir up some real fear. It can do all kinds of things. But it has nothing to do with the world that you see, with the people that you think it is associated with. It has nothing to do with it. Now I return back to my peace. By letting that resolve, it's really like a conversion mechanism. You go through all of it while nothing happens. You don't adjust. And this is your practice. Who knew? Who knew? Like, I'm so happy that I discovered this by just sticking around with Master Teacher. He would be in that continuously, not letting any association distract him from actually sitting right in the middle of the experience that he's in. I saw him, for instance, move to something that we call, there's a word for that, it's like some kind of insult. He would sit in front of us. He going through an insult, and like half of his body was like numb. He couldn't move, but he stayed in it. He would just be quiet. He would stay in it. Now you would say like, well, you have to go 911 or whatever the number in your country. You have to call for the emergency, for this and for that, and we have to do something and all this. No, stay right here. It has nothing to do with anything. Just allow it to change, and it would change. And suddenly it really was relieved for him. For instance, this was just an occurrence that I happened to say be part of, where you see, stay right here. Don't adjust. No, just bring everything back to this center of your being, to the wholeness of who you are, to your Christ consciousness. Like, no occurrence in time can take away your Christ awareness. Does not have to do that, because your Christ awareness is the totality of this moment, in which, your relationship with your source becomes very obvious and also very total. So this is beautiful to practice and to see. It is always working. It always comes back to you in this instant. It has nothing to do with anything. You lose the world from all you thought it was. You lose your associations from all you thought it had to do with this world. No, it had nothing to do with this world. So we're obviously entering, coming closer to lesson 50, which is like, I'm surrounded by the love of God. Like, there's not a place where God is absent. There is no need to worry or adjust. No, everything is given. I was created, like I'm created by love itself, in its totality. And I think I need to adjust something. To do what? To make it more complete? That does not make sense. All right. It's so great. I'm so happy doing these exercises. Like, it's so amazing to see how everything falls into place with the lessons, and that is a continuing experience. It doesn't stop becoming so perfectly, beautifully falling into place continuously. Whether you do this like for the first time or not. I am doing this for the first time, by the way, because there really is not such thing as time. Can you tell that I'm doing this for the first time? Like, I shared with you my like fresh experiences with these lessons. I discovered something. I'm discovering something in this instant, and that is what I'm sharing with you. This is how new it is, and how alive that becomes. Okay, we're heading over to the mind training department, where you are totally invited to participate in a quantum enlightenment procedure, which is reading. It starts with this lesson, lesson 42. If you feel stirring inside, or this starts to resonate with you in such an incredible way that you feel like, I want to give this away, I want to read this, you're welcome to do that.
Dieu est ma force, la vision est son don. Je ne compte pas sur mes propres yeux pour voir aujourd'hui pour voir aujourd'hui. Que je sois désireux d'échanger ma piètre illusion de voir contre la vision qui est donnée par Dieu. La vision du Christ est son don, et il me l'a donné. Que je fasse appel à ce don aujourd'hui afin que cette journée m'aide à comprendre l'éternité.
God is my source. I cannot see apart from him. I can see only what God wants me to see. I cannot see anything else. Beyond his will lie only illusions. It is these I choose when I think. I can see apart from him. Yet the vision of Christ has been given to me to replace them. It is through this vision that I choose to see.
God is the light in which I see. I cannot see in darkness. God is the only light. Therefore, if I am to see, it must be through him. I have tried to define what seeing is, and I have been wrong. Now it is given to me to understand that God is the light in which I see. Let me welcome vision and the happy world it will show me.
God is the mind with which I think. I have no thoughts. I do not share with God. I love no thoughts apart from him because I have no mind apart from him. As part of his mind, my thoughts are his, and his thoughts are mine.
God is the love in which I forgive. God does not forgive because he has never condemned. The blameless cannot blame, and those who have accepted their innocence see nothing to forgive. Yet forgiveness is the means by which I will recognize my innocence. It is the reflection of God's love on earth. It will bring me near enough to heaven that the love of God can reach down to me and raise me up to him.
God is the strength in which I trust. It is not my own strength through which I forgive. It is through the strength of God in me, which I am remembering as I forget. As I begin to see, I recognize his reflection on earth. I forgive all things because I feel the stirring of his strength in me, and I begin to remember the love I chose to forget, but which has not forgotten me.
God is the strength in which I trust. If you are trusting in your own strength, you have every reason to be apprehensive, anxious, and fearful? What can you predict or control? What is there in you that can be counted on? What would give you the ability to be aware of all the facets of any problem and to resolve them in such a way that only good can come of it? What is there in you that gives you the recognition of the right solution and the guarantee that it will be accomplished? Of yourself, you can do none of these things. To believe you can is to put your trust where trust is unwarranted, and to justify fear, anxiety, depression, anger and sorrow. Who can put his faith in weakness and feel safe? Yet who can put his faith in strength and feel weak? God is your safety in every circumstance. His voice speaks for him in all situations and in every aspect of all situations, telling you exactly what to do to call upon his strength and protection. There are no exceptions because God has no exceptions, and the voice which speaks for him thinks as he does. Today we will try to reach past your own weakness to the source of real strength. 4 or 5 minute practice periods are necessary today, and longer and more frequent ones are urged. Close your eyes and begin as usual by repeating the idea of today. God is the strength in which I trust. God is the strength in which I trust. Then spend a minute or two in searching for situations in your life which you have infested with fear, dismissing each one by telling yourself, God is the strength in which I trust. So we do this for 2 minutes. Close your eyes and repeat the idea for today. God is the strength in which I trust. Then spend a minute or two in searching for situations in your life which you have invested with fear, dismissing each one when it comes up, dismissing each one by telling yourself, God is the strength in which I trust. So let's do this right now. Now try to slip past all concerns related to your own sense of inadequacy. It is obvious that any situation that causes you concern is associated with feelings of inadequacy. For otherwise, you would believe that you could deal with the situation successfully. It is not trusting yourself that you will gain confidence. That's an amazing expression. It is not by trusting yourself that you will gain confidence. But the strength of God in you is successful in all things. So that's where your confidence will come from. The recognition of your own frailty is a necessary step in the correction of your errors. What did I just read? The recognition of your own... Wow, there's a bit of rain here. The recognition of your own frailty is a necessary step in the correction of your errors, but it's hardly sufficient. But it is hardly a sufficient one in giving you the confidence that you need, and to which you are entitled. You must also gain an awareness that confidence in your real strength is fully justified in every respect and in all circumstances. So the latter phase of the practice period. Try to reach down into your mind to a place of real safety. try to reach down into your mind to a place of real safety. You will recognize that you have reached it if you feel a sense of deep peace, however briefly. Let go, here we are, let go of all the trivial things that churn and bubble on the surface of your mind, and reach down below them to the kingdom of heaven. There is a place in you where there is perfect peace. There is a place in you where nothing is impossible. There is a meeting place, like there's a place in you where the strength of God abides. In the latter phase of the practice period, which we're entering now, try to reach down into your mind to a real place of safety. You will recognize that you have reached it if you feel a deep sense of peace, however briefly. Let go of the trivial things that churn and bubble on the surface of your mind and reach down and below them to the kingdom of heaven. There is a place in you where there is perfect peace. There is a place in you where nothing is impossible. There is a place in you where the strength of God abides. Let's find that now. During the day, repeat the idea often. Use it as your answer to any disturbance. Remember that peace is your right, because you are giving your trust to the strength of God. God is the strength in which I trust. Alright, so God is the strength in which I trust. This is how I started this moment together too. It's like this is where it happens. You just stay right here. So you don't trust your own ideas about how to solve anything, but you start to listen, or you come into this silence and the stillness of your withinness. That is going to be your practice, relying more and more and more and more on the confidence that is given you. So you, otherwise you will keep running around uncertain, because what you choose as your options are not going to give you the confidence that it will work. So only the strength of God will help you, will work, but you will have to rely completely on that and forget about your own ideas how to solve situations. This is really what is given. Not as okay, this is how you do that. No, this is because it is the only reality that is there. Like the fearful situations or the anxiety that you go through, all the disturbance and disruptions that you go through during the day is only based on the fact that you think that you know how to deal with the situation that you're in. And you don't know. And by admitting you don't know and recognizing the impossibility of the situation that you're in, master teacher speaking to you, it's like that's exactly the spot where the complete alternative becomes available. Right here, right now. You only have to do that. So let go of your ideas about what you should do. Let go of this or let go of that. Everything connected to where you think you are and how to proceed. All these ideas you let go. Now the alternative is available. What do you recognize this alternative? How do you recognize this alternative? It gives you a deep sense of peace and confidence that everything will be just fine. Everything will be falling into place. But you cannot imagine how that ever would be possible. That does not change. You start to rely more on the strength and power of God, but that's the only thing. You still don't know how to respond to any of it. Except you dedicate yourself to using the strength of God instead of your own strength. And using your strength of God is basically allowing the strength of God to work through you and showing you what to do. So in all this leads to lesson 50, and like, I'm sustained by the love of God. There's literally nothing that can take that away. I can completely rely on it. Now I don't know what to do, but I have great guidance. Well, lesson 48 and 49, there's nothing to fear. And God's voice speaks to me all through the day. Oh, yeah, I might as well just listen to it. Well, we're going to practice that in the next couple of days. I'm going to listen to the voice of God. Oh, now I understand why this is all so perfectly set up for me. How wonderful is that? I only have to receive that for myself and allow that to speak through me, literally, because God is speaking to me all the time. Now, if I listen to that and follow up on what is being shared, you could say, then I'm trusting. Then I recognize that peace is inevitable. It is my right to be at peace. I don't have anything to let me be disturbed by. This is so great. Like, that works 100%. When you allow that to work for you, and when you, take a moment to breathe and say, like, oh yeah, wait a minute, what was the lesson of today? Oh, God is the strength in which I trust. Oh, here's my confidence, here's my safety and security. Not anywhere else, because I have no idea. Thank you so much for joining me in this quantum enlightenment procedure. Thank you for everything, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Merci beaucoup. Thank you so much.